When the wilderness calls, not everyone comes back the same. This isn't just another day at Heartland Ranch. This is where nature tests courage, friendships are pushed to their breaking point, and every heartbeat echoes through the trees. In Braving the Wilderness, the fourth episode of Heartland's 19th season, we leave behind the safety of the stables and step into something far more unpredictable, the raw and untamed wild. The episode opens with the land itself almost breathing quiet, vast, waiting. You can feel that silence before something changes. The Heartland sky stretches endlessly, the kind of view that reminds you how small we all are compared to the world around us. But peace doesn't last long here. Out beyond the fences, trouble is already moving through the wilderness. Amy knows it. Her instincts are sharper than ever, and when she hears about a plane that went down in the forest, she doesn't hesitate. The bond she has with horses, with nature, with people, it's what defines her. And now, that bond is what drives her forward. She and Ashley ride into the unknown, chasing the faint hope of finding survivors. There's fear in her eyes, but there's also determination, the kind only someone who's lost before can carry. Meanwhile, far from help, Caleb and Nathan are stranded. Two men who share a past full of pride, mistakes, and unspoken words. The forest isn't kind to them. It doesn't care who's right or wrong. It only asks one question: can you survive? Every sound, a snapping twig, a distant howl, reminds them how fragile they are out there. And in that quiet struggle, they'll either find each other again or lose everything. Back at Heartland, Jack and Lisa are dealing with something completely different, a reminder that even at home, life keeps moving. They're preparing for an old-fashioned haying event, bringing a touch of tradition back to the ranch. The smell of fresh cut grass, the laughter of helping hands, the sound of the tractor engine, it's a warm, familiar contrast to the tension building beyond the hills. But that's what Heartland does best, showing us how peace and danger, joy and fear, can exist at the same time. One part of life is calm and full of love, while another part feels like it's fighting to survive. Braving the Wilderness takes those two worlds and pulls them together, reminding us that strength doesn't always look like winning a battle. Sometimes it's just holding on until the morning comes. As night falls over the forest, Amy's flashlight cuts through the dark. The rain begins to fall, slow at first, then harder. You can almost feel the cold through the screen. The camera lingers on her face, tired, soaked, but steady. That's when you realize this isn't just another rescue story. It's about facing what scares you most, the unknown, the uncontrollable, and the possibility that even courage might not be enough. Out here, the wilderness doesn't test your strength, it reveals it. And in episode 4, every character will learn what they're truly made of. The wilderness doesn't care who you are. It doesn't care how strong, how kind, or how brave you think you've been. Out there, the rules are different. The sun disappears early, and every step forward feels like a question the land is asking. How much are you willing to risk? Amy and Ashley press deeper into the forest. Their horses move carefully over fallen branches and mud, their breath turning to mist in the cool air. You can almost hear the sound of hooves sinking into wet earth. Amy's eyes scan the tree line. She's not just looking for the wreckage. She's searching for answers. Answers about the people she's trying to save, and maybe about herself. Each gust of wind feels heavier, carrying voices of memory and doubt. But she keeps going. That's who Amy is. She rides toward fear, not away from it. Then the storm begins. Not a loud, crashing storm, a quiet, creeping one. The kind that sneaks in as a whisper before turning into a roar. Trees sway like they're warning the riders to turn back, but Amy refuses. Ashley glances at her, uncertain, but Amy's expression says everything. We're not leaving anyone behind. Their friendship shines in that silence, a reminder that bravery doesn't always shout. Sometimes it just keeps moving forward. Cut to Caleb and Nathan. The wilderness around them feels endless. Their clothes are torn, their faces streaked with dirt and exhaustion. The crash has left them shaken and worse, divided. Old arguments surface between them, like cracks in frozen water. Caleb blames himself for everything that went wrong. Nathan, stubborn and proud, refuses to admit how scared he really is. But when night falls, all that pride fades. The forest has a way of stripping people down to the truth. A moment of quiet, just rain tapping on leaves, the fire flickering weakly between them. For the first time in a long time, they talk, not as rivals, but as two men trying to survive. You can feel the shift, the wilderness, harsh and unforgiving, somehow giving them space to be honest. Maybe that's what this episode is really about. Not fighting the wild, but listening to it. Meanwhile, back at Heartland Ranch, the world feels softer. Jack and Lisa's haying day begins with sunlight spilling over the fields. The contrast is beautiful. While some hearts are lost in the forest, others find peace in the simple rhythm of work and laughter. The camera lingers on Jack's weathered smile as he looks out across the land. He doesn't know what's happening miles away, but he can feel something in his bones, that quiet worry only family can cause. This balance, danger and calm, fear and love, is what makes braving the wilderness so powerful. The wilderness isn't just a place. It's a mirror. It shows who's willing to fight, who's willing to forgive, and who still believes that no matter how dark the night gets, someone will always be searching for the light. There's a moment in every storm when the noise fades, not because it's over, but because you've stopped fighting it. That's where episode 4 takes us. The forest is no longer just a backdrop. It becomes a character of its own, alive, breathing, watching. The trees groan in the wind, rain drips from every leaf, and the air feels thick with stories waiting to be told. Amy and Ashley have been riding for hours, soaked to the bone. The trail is gone, swallowed by mud and mist. The forest feels endless, a maze that tests both patience and faith. Amy stops her horse, lifts her head, and listens. There's no dialogue here, just silence broken only by the sound of rain hitting her jacket. Then, faintly, a cry for help cuts through the distance. Her heart skips. For a moment, fear flashes in her eyes, but then it's gone, replaced by resolve. "Let's go," she whispers, and they move again. Meanwhile, Caleb and Nathan are caught between pride and panic. The fire they built has gone out. The cold seeps in. You can see the tension in their movements, two men who know each other too well, who've hurt each other too deeply. The wilderness doesn't care about their past, but it makes them face it. In one powerful moment, Caleb stumbles and nearly falls. Nathan catches him instinctively, without thinking. Their eyes meet. No words are needed. That single gesture says it all. Forgiveness doesn't always start with an apology. Sometimes it starts with survival. The scene cuts back to Heartland, warm light, soft laughter, the hum of life continuing. Jack's hand rests on a bale of hay as he watches the younger ranch hands work. There's pride in his eyes, but behind it, a flicker of worry. He glances at the horizon, almost as if he can sense what's happening beyond it. Lisa joins him, her voice gentle. "They'll be all right." Jack doesn't answer. He just nods, the way a man does when he wants to believe something but can't quite make himself sure. Back in the forest, Amy and Ashley finally find the wreckage. The camera doesn't rush this moment, it lingers. The plane's metal is twisted, scattered like broken memories. Smoke rises faintly. The color palette turns cold blues and grays, swallowing the screen. The voiceover could soften here, reflecting the heartbreak of what they find. Sometimes, saving others means losing a part of yourself along the way. They search the wreckage until Amy spots movement, a sign of life. Relief floods her face. She calls out, her voice breaking with both fear and hope. The music swells. In this moment, the episode's heart beats loud and clear, not because of action, but because of what it says about love, courage, and the quiet power of never giving up. As they pull a survivor from the wreck, Amy glances toward the stormy sky, a small smile on her face. One that says we made it through the worst part. For now, the scene fades to black with the distant rumble of thunder, like a reminder that peace never lasts long at Heartland. The night finally gives into dawn. The forest, once roaring with thunder and fear, now hums with life again, dripping leaves, tired breaths, the soft rustle of horses shifting their weight. Sunlight filters through the trees, pale and fragile, as if the sky itself is still recovering. For Amy, it's a kind of morning that changes everything. She kneels beside the survivor, wrapping a blanket around them. Her hands shake not from cold, but from relief. Ashley stands nearby, watching her friend work with quiet admiration. The storm is over, but its weight still lingers in the air. Amy exhales slowly, and for the first time all night, she smiles. It's not a big smile, just a flicker, but it carries the kind of peace that only comes when you've done something that matters. As they lead the horses out of the forest, the world feels new again. Every step homeward feels like a heartbeat, steady and alive. The wilderness has taken its toll, mud on their clothes, scratches on their hands. But it has also given something back. Strength, perspective, a reminder that courage isn't about being fearless. It's about showing up when fear is louder than hope. Cut to Caleb and Nathan. They walk side by side now, silent, but changed. There's no argument left between them, just understanding. In the firelight of the night before, they saw each other for who they really are, flawed, stubborn, but deeply human. Nathan breaks the silence first. His voice is rough. "You didn't give up on me." Caleb's answer is simple. "You wouldn't have either." It's not an apology, but it's enough. Back at Heartland Ranch, the day begins like any other. Jack's voice carries across the yard as hay bales are lifted and laughter rises from the team. Lisa hums a tune as she hands out coffee, the smell drifting through the crisp air. There's warmth here, the kind that makes you forget, for a moment, how wild the world can be. But when Amy rides in, covered in mud and exhaustion, the laughter stops. Jack meets her halfway, eyes wide, 1,000 questions in his gaze. She doesn't say a word. She just nods. He understands. That's all that's needed. In that silent exchange, Heartland reminds us why it's lasted 19 seasons. It's not about action or drama alone, but about connection. About the unspoken bonds that hold families together through storms and distance and time. The episode lingers on those quiet moments, Amy leaning against her horse, Caleb sitting alone on a fence post staring at the sunrise, Nathan helping with the haying as if nothing had happened. Life keeps moving. The wilderness may have changed them, but the ranch, this home, gives them a place to heal. The final shot of this sequence is breathtaking. A wide, golden field stretching to the horizon. Amy stands in the center, her silhouette framed by morning light. The voiceover softens here, carrying the episode's message home. Sometimes the wild isn't a place we escape to, it's what we carry inside us. And when we face it, we find the pieces of ourselves we thought were lost. Gentle acoustic guitar fades in transition beats. Every season has a turning point. For Heartland Season 19, that moment begins right here in the first look trailer for Braving the Wilderness. It doesn't shout its message. It whispers it, through wind and water, through faces that say more than words ever could. The trailer opens with silence, no dialogue, just the haunting sound of wind moving through the trees. Then, flashes of motion, Amy's horse charging through the forest, branches snapping, her breath visible in the cold air. You can feel the pulse of urgency in every frame. A voice Jack's breaks through faintly. "Sometimes, you've got to go where you don't want to bring someone home." It's the kind of line that sits with you long after the screen fades. Then the pace changes. Caleb stumbles through the rain, his face streaked with dirt and fear. Nathan calls out from somewhere unseen. The camera pans to the storm-clouded sky. Lightning splits the darkness for a fraction of a second, revealing the wreckage. The trailer doesn't linger. It cuts to black, just enough to leave you holding your breath. That's when the music swells, a soft piano layered with the distant echo of hooves. Amy's voice enters, calm but trembling. "We're not alone out here." Fans have been replaying that line again and again. Is it a warning? A promise? Or something deeper, a reflection of her own loneliness since Ty's passing? The comments online already tell the story. Viewers feel this episode is more than a rescue, it's a symbol. A reminder that no matter how much time has passed, the wilderness still carries the ghosts of old love, old pain, and unspoken hope. Some fans believe the storm mirrors Amy's inner struggle, the need to let go while still holding on to what Heartland has always meant to her. And then, a single moment in the trailer shifts everything. Caleb and Nathan sitting by a dying fire, both silent. It's not flashy, but it's powerful, a stillness that says this is where healing begins. For longtime fans, it's a callback to earlier Heartland seasons, where conflicts weren't solved by shouting. but by shared silence and a stubborn kind of loyalty. Toward the end, the trailer cuts to the ranch, golden light, laughter, the smell of hay almost tangible through the screen. But even in that warmth, there's a shadow. Jack looks toward the horizon, his brow furrowed. The music drops to a single note. A raven flies overhead. And then, those final words appear on screen. Braving the Wilderness, October 26th on CBC. The screen fades. But your heart doesn't. Because this first look doesn't just tease an episode, it teases transformation. It suggests that every character, from Amy to Caleb to Jack, will face something wild, not just outside, but within. The wilderness is never just a place, the narrator whispers in the trailer's closing seconds. It's the truth waiting to find you, and that's why fans are calling this episode the emotional center of season 19. Not because it's loud, but because it's honest. Because Heartland knows how to turn even silence into something that speaks straight to the soul. When the storm passes, the silence it leaves behind feels almost sacred. It's the kind of quiet that makes you look around at the land, at the faces you love, and realize just how fragile everything really is. Braving the wilderness isn't about surviving the wild. It's about learning that sometimes the wild is where we discover who we truly are. As the episode fades toward its final scenes, we see that classic Heartland balance between loss and love, pain and peace. The camera drifts across the open fields, golden with sunrise. Horses graze in the distance, their breath rising in little clouds of light. You can hear faint laughter from the barn, the creak of wood, the soft whinny of a horse calling home. Life in all its small and beautiful details continues. Amy stands near the fence, her jacket still stained with mud, but her eyes clearer than before. The storm may have tested her, but it also grounded her. It reminded her why she does what she does, why she keeps fighting for life, for hope, for the quiet kind of love that never really leaves. She looks toward the horizon, and though she says nothing, her silence speaks louder than words ever could. Back inside the ranch, Jack sits at the table, hands folded, the smell of coffee in the air. He doesn't talk much, but you can see it in his eyes: pride, worry, gratitude, all mixed together. Lisa joins him, sliding into the seat beside him. No big speeches, no music swell, just a look. The kind of look that says, "We made it through another storm." Meanwhile, Caleb and Nathan unload hay together, two men who started this episode at odds, now moving in quiet rhythm. Their argument is gone, replaced by a simple understanding that survival isn't always about strength. Sometimes it's about forgiveness. The wilderness didn't just test them, it rebuilt them. And that's the magic of Heartland. It doesn't shout its lessons. It whispers them, through wind, through light, through the small moments that remind us why home matters. Because no matter how far you wander, or how dark the path becomes, there's always a way back to the people who make you whole. As the music rises, gentle guitar, faint piano, the screen fades to black. Then, the words appear in white, soft and steady. Heartland Season 19, Episode 4, Braving the Wilderness. Sometimes the hardest journey is coming home. Pause, let the music breathe. The narrator's voice returns one last time, calm but full of feeling. The wilderness will always be there, waiting, watching, whispering. But so will Heartland, a place where storms end, hearts heal, and every sunrise feels like a second chance. Fade into a slow shot of the Heartland Ranch under morning light, the logo glowing softly on screen. What did Braving the Wilderness mean to you? Tell us in the comments below, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and saddle up for next week's journey. Because in Heartland, the story never really ends.